The popularity of subcompact crossovers has been on the rise in recent years, and the market has been shifting from hatchbacks and saloons to these crossovers, which are essentially raised hatchbacks. So they give that elevated driving position and also good ground clearance. And these are, in fact, the main selling points of these crossovers. Today in this particular episode, we're going to be taking a look at three of the main subcompact crossovers in the Kenyan market. These are the Honda Vezel, Mazda CX3, and Subaru XV, the 2016 models. As usual, we will compare the specifications of these crossovers, then also look at their strengths and weaknesses, then finally give our recommendation. So this is going to be a very in-depth comparison to help you decide on which one would be the absolute best option. So please stay tuned, consider subscribing to the channel for more informative content on cars and bikes, and welcome to iCave Auto Reviews. So the Honda Vezel, also known as HRV in other markets, is based on the Honda Fit. Mazda CX3 is based on the Demio, and the Subaru XV is based on the Impreza. The market is flooded with many other subcompact crossovers such as the Nissan Juke, Suzuki Vitara Brezza, Peugeot 2008 and more. But we decided to pick on these three because they are the highest selling crossovers. They are the main subcompact crossovers in the Kenyan market. If you would also like to see a comparison review of the other options, feel free to let us know in the comment section. The 2016 Honda Vezel is the second generation, which was in production from 2013 till 2022. The 2016 CX3 is the first generation, which was in production from 2014 till present. And lastly, the 2016 Subaru XV is also the first generation, which was in production from 2012 till 2017. So this segment of cars is relatively new. Straight away, let's begin with the prices of each of these crossovers, beginning with the Honda Vezel. You can get a 2016 model from roughly around 2.4 to 2.75 million, depending on the trim level. This is among the most expensive subcompact crossovers, not only in this comparison, but also in the Kenyan market. In fact, if it were not for its high asking price, it would have really sold in large numbers. Moving on to the Mazda CX3, 2015 and 2016 models are going for between 1.75 to around 2.35 million, again depending on the trim level as well as the mileage. It's the most affordable car in this comparison. Lastly, 2015 and 2016 models of the Subaru XV are going for between 1.9 to around 2.55 million. So in terms of price, the XV falls in between these other two competitors. In terms of the engine options, the Vezel comes with three, a 1500cc, another 1500cc but in hybrid form. Then lastly, there is also an 1800cc, which is not that common. This car is available in either front or all-wheel drive, and transmission-wise, there is a CVT, a 7-speed DCT exclusively for the hybrid variants, and also a 6-speed manual, which is very rare. The best engine and transmission to go for is the 1.5-liter non-hybrid coupled to the CVT gearbox. That combination is very simple and reliable, so it will give you peace of mind and a stress-free ownership experience. The hybrid is no doubt very fuel efficient, but the complexity of that dual clutch transmission and hybrid powertrain means that there's always the chance of something going wrong, and in fact a few issues have been reported. We will look more into them later in this video. The 1500cc non-hybrid is average in terms of power, but as long as you just drive it decently, you will not feel it's like as if it's very underpowered. It's a very smooth and refined engine, and that CVT gearbox also provides a very smooth and linear power delivery. The 1800cc is more powerful but slightly less efficient, and in fact, there's no point in going for it, being that it's also rare. The 1.5 is more efficient and decently powerful, so there's really no need for that 1.8 liter considering the ever-rising fuel costs. Mazda CX3 is available with 4 engine options, 2 petrol options, and 2 diesel options. The diesel options are either a 1.5 or a 1.8. The petrol options are 1.5 and 2.0 liter. This subcompact crossover is also available in either front or all-wheel drive. As for the transmission options, there is either a 6-speed manual or a 6-speed torque converter automatic. In fact, this is among the very few crossovers that don't have a CVT. Now, the most reliable engine option is the 1.5-liter petrol. It's a very simple engine that requires basic and minimal maintenance. It's not like the diesel options, which are very sensitive to poor maintenance and are also slightly more expensive to maintain. That said, these diesel engines are very powerful. Yes, they may be a bit more sensitive, but they are quite powerful and very fuel efficient. They are also not plagued with the inherent gasket and cooling issues that are common in the 2.2-liter diesel in the CX5 and Atenza. Most people have really shied away from Mazda diesels due to the issues in the CX5 and Atenza. There has almost been sort of a blanket condemnation on all Mazda diesel engines, but it's important to note that the 1.5-liter diesel in the Demio and CX3 has not had those major issues. Yes, being diesel engines, they are still a bit sensitive, but not as problematic. In fact, the 1.5-liter diesel is among the best engines to go for due to its performance and fuel efficiency. If you just maintain it well by making sure you refuel at well-known petrol stations that provide good quality diesel, don't just refuel anywhere. Also make sure you do the service at the exact required time and use the genuine recommended oil and parts. You'll be good to go. This engine will serve you reliably for a long time. Something else that you can do is deleting the DPF to prevent any future issues that may occur. You can watch a video that we did some time back on Mazda diesel engine maintenance. I'll leave a link to that video in the description box. But if you prefer ease of maintenance and absolute reliability, then the 1.5 petrol is your best bet. Moving on to the Subaru XV, it comes with 3 engine options, a 1.6, a 2.0 and another 2.0 with mild hybrid technology. This is not a fully fledged hybrid like Toyota Aqua or Honda Fit hybrid. There's an electric motor between the engine and CVT transmission to provide extra torque when needed, for example when accelerating, but the car cannot move purely on electric power for short distances at low speeds. So in essence, it's a mild hybrid, and in fact, there's not much difference in terms of fuel consumption between the 2-liter hybrid and non-hybrid, as we will see in a short while. The only transmission option available is a CVT, and this car is only available in all-wheel drive, which is a big plus. Subarus are known for their very capable all-wheel drive prowess. The most reliable engine option is the 2-liter non-hybrid. It's very decent in terms of power, but there are a few issues that we will talk about when we get to the weaknesses of this car. Generally, for the most part, it's reliable as long as you also take good care of it. In terms of fuel consumption, the 1.5 non-hybrid in the Vezel can get up to around 16 kilometers per liter. The hybrid between 20 to 27 kilometers per liter, which is best in class, and the 1.8 around 14 kilometers per liter. The 1.5-liter petrol in the CX3 can achieve up to around 17 kilometers per liter, the 2.0 petrol between 10 to 15 kilometers per liter, the 1.5-liter diesel between 15 to about 22 kilometers per liter, and lastly the 1.8-liter diesel between 14 to around 20 kilometers per liter. Expect about 14 kilometers per liter in the Subaru XV's 2.0 liter and around 15 kilometers per liter in the 1.6. As I said earlier, there is not much big difference between the hybrid and non-hybrid, being that the hybrid has a very mild hybrid technology. The Vezel has a 40-liter fuel tank. Front-wheel drive variants of the CX3 have a 48-liter tank, while all-wheel drive variants have a slightly smaller 45-liter tank. Lastly, the Subaru XV has a 60-liter tank, which is largest in this comparison. The ground clearance of the Honda Vezel measures in at around 170 millimeters, which is above the recommended 165 millimeter clearance here in Kenya, so you'll not have any challenges going over big bumps. The CX3 has a slightly lower clearance of 160 millimeters. It's not the best, but good enough. The XV has the best clearance, measuring in at 200 millimeters. It's even better than some crossover SUVs. and combined with Subaru's symmetrical all-wheel drive system, this subcompact crossover can go to places where most other crossovers can't manage. As for the brakes, all these cars have front ventilated discs and solid discs at the back. Moving on to the cab weights, the Vezel measures in between 1180 to 1270 kgs, the CX3 between 1291 to 1339, and the XV between 1370 to 1445, which is the heaviest car here. Lastly, some of the extra features you can expect to get in all these cars include paddle shifts, heated seats, keyless entry and go, automatic lights and wipers, cruise control, sunroof, leather interior and parking sensors. The CX3 takes it even further by offering a heads-up display, a Bose premium audio system, and an MZD Connect infotainment system. So generally, in terms of features, they are not badly off. The CX3 is the clear winner in this segment. It packs premium features that you cannot find in the other competitors. So how about the exteriors and interiors? Which one do you think looks better? Do let me know in the comments section. Most people would agree that the CX3 clearly takes the day. It combines sportiness, elegance, and some sort of premiumness in its design. It really does look good, especially in red. I would say the XV comes second in terms of the exterior design. It also looks good, a bit more aggressive and off-road ready. The Vezel also looks good but a bit basic compared to the other two. Interior wise, let's begin with their dash designs and build quality. Again, the CX3 takes the day. It feels quite premium, from the materials on the dash to the AC controls, and everything just feels well sorted and a notch above what you get in the other two cars. That's about where all the positives end, because this car is very cramped. It's not spacious and practical. I did an actual review of this car some time back, and when I sat in it, it felt limited in terms of the interior space. Remember, this car is based on the Demio, which is also quite limited interior-wise. Yes, the CX3 is very slightly larger than the Demio, but that slight largeness does not translate to much interior space. The rear seats can accommodate two passengers of average height or three at a squeeze for moderate journeys. The boot is also average at best. It can swallow one large suitcase and a few other smaller items. So in terms of space and practicality, it doesn't score that well. The XV is better in that regard. It feels airy and much more spacious at both the first and second rows. When you sit inside, you also realize that you sit quite high off the ground, thanks to its very high ground clearance. The dash design is simplistic yet functional. It's not as premium as the CX3, but the build quality is good enough. Its boot is also decent, much bigger than the CX3's. The rear seats can be folded down to increase the luggage capacity whenever the need arises. The most practical car here is the Honda Vezel. Hondas are very proficient when it comes to space packaging, and we have seen that in many other Honda models, and this Vezel is no different. The space at the front row is quite good. Getting a comfortable driving position is easy. The doors also open wide enough to enable for easy ingress and egress. At the second row, the space is even better. This is among the most spacious and practical subcompact crossovers in the market currently. The leg, head, and footroom are quite decent even for slightly taller people. Practicality-wise, it even gets better thanks to the magic seats. If you need to transport taller items or luggage, you can fold up the rear seat bases to reveal a significant storage space. The seats can also be folded down to expand the boot space. So it's a very well thought out interior. It's a very ideal small crossover for a family. The dash design, just like in the XV, is simple but well thought out, with the controls placed logically. So that said, let's now move on to the strong and weak points of each vehicle, beginning with the Honda Vezel. The first strong point is its comfort and smooth driving experience. It's a very comfortable car. The ride quality is very smooth, and combined with the CVT and engine, it provides a smooth and refined driving experience. Secondly, it's a very fuel efficient car. In fact, among the most efficient, if not the most efficient crossover. The hybrid can get up to a whopping 27 kilometers per liter, which is just very, very impressive. Even the non-hybrid is good enough. So this is a crossover that will be affordable to run and maintain, especially being that it shares most mechanical components with the Honda Fit. Another pro is its practicality and space. As we've seen it, it has a very spacious and well thought out cabin. Reliability is yet another strong point, especially the non-hybrid, which is very simple and straightforward. Lastly, it also has impressive resale value. Being a Honda, as long as you maintain it well, you can be guaranteed of good resale value 5 years down the line. On to its weaknesses. The first one is its high asking price. It's a bit expensive compared to its competitors. In fact, as I said earlier, if it were not for the price, this car would have sold in huge numbers. It offers good space, good fuel consumption, and reliability, but the price is a bit steep. Another weak point is that the spares, especially body parts, can be a bit expensive compared to those of Toyotas and Mazdas. And this also applies to many other Honda models. The other weakness has to do with the hybrid variants. The DCT gearbox is complex and there have been reports about them overheating. At times, there is also delayed response. You press on the accelerator, but instead of the car moving, you experience a bit of a delay and even jerky gear changes, especially at low speeds, which is normally an inherent characteristic of DCTs. Generally, DCTs tend to wear faster than CVTs and conventional automatics, and this may also be attributed to frequently driving in traffic due to transmission slip. So these transmissions need a watchful eye in terms of how you drive and also how you maintain them. And in case it develops a problem, repairing it is very expensive. In fact, even getting mechanics who understand it can be a challenge. And in most cases, you may just have to buy a new transmission. On the plus side, it provides a very engaging drive, but it's delicate, not as hardy as automatics. The last weakness, though a minor one, is the electronic parking brake. These handbrakes are not as reliable as the mechanical ones, so it's important to keep that in mind. They can always easily fail, but again, we have to move with time and technology. Let's now move on to the Mazda CX3. Its first strong point is its very striking good looks. This is a car that will most likely turn heads. It's among the best looking subcompact crossovers out there. Secondly, it packs in some premium features and very good build quality that the competitors are yet to match up to. Good driving dynamics is another pro. It's arguably the most engaging subcompact crossover to drive thanks to its conventional automatic gearbox and Skyactiv engines and chassis. If you drive all these cars back to back, you will certainly realize that this CX3 is much better to drive. The steering feedback and body control are much better. Its diesel engines are also very powerful, very torquey, yet also very fuel efficient. They may not be the most reliable, but in terms of performance, they are very impressive. On to the weaknesses. The first one is the already mentioned limited interior space. If only this car would be more spacious, it would have sold like hotcake. Another weak point is the diesel engines. They are sensitive and hence require a very keen maintenance schedule. You can't maintain them the same way you would maintain the petrol variants. The diesels can be reliable, but you have to take very good care of them. Otherwise, you will run the risk of endless issues to do with the DPFs, engine overheating, and many other problems that can be brought by poor quality diesel. So strict maintenance is very key. Lastly, let's take a look at the Subaru XV. And the first pro is its excellent ground clearance combined with the symmetrical all-wheel drive system, which makes this car ideal for some off-roading. I've seen some of this XV do some serious off-roading. Of course, not as serious as what the fully fledged four-wheel drives can do, but it can really go far where most other crossovers cannot even think of attempting to go. Reliability is another pro. For the most part, it's also a reliable car. It's not a complicated car by any means. It has good resale value like most other Subarus, but just like any other car, it will also depend on how well you maintain it. On to its weaknesses, the first one is that there have been issues to do with the start-stop system. These are relatively new technologies, and with anything new, there's always the chance of something going wrong. You find that at times when you are in traffic and the start stop feature is on, the engine will automatically switch off when you come to a complete stop. Then once traffic starts moving, you press on the accelerator and the engine refuses to come back on. These cases have happened, and not just in Subarus but also in some Nissans that I have come across. There's just a lot of technology that goes into these modern engines, and this increases the chances of things going wrong. This start-stop system can also lead to quick wear of the engine, because you can imagine if you're always frequently driving in stop and go traffic with this feature constantly activated. This means the engine will always be on and off, and this puts a bit of strain on the engine. So yes, it may save you some fuel, but you also run the risk of engine problems. So it may be a good idea to have that function turned off. Another weak point is the CVT. Some of these Subaru CVTs have had their fair share of issues. There have been reports from owners about some shaking and vibrations and even stalling. At times, the issue is to do with the CVT belts and pulleys. These belts can fail and cause these vibrations or even more serious issues. So before you buy, make sure to schedule a test drive with a mechanic so that any issues can be fished out early enough. The last issue is to do with oil consumption. Some of these XVs can consume a lot of oil, and you'll often be told to just top up oil after every few hundred kilometers. But the problem can be caused by the lower part of the piston rail rings, and at times oil can also escape into the combustion chamber. So adding small amounts of oil may just be a temporary solution, but the major problem is still hiding somewhere. So with all that said, which subcompact crossover should you go for? All these cars have their strong and weak points, but which one would be the most suitable one to go for? A car that offers good fuel consumption, good reliability, ease of maintenance, and good resale value. That car is the Honda Vezel, or HRV as it's known in other markets. It's very expensive, but it's the most fuel efficient. It's also arguably the most reliable, especially the non-hybrid. It's very practical and also comfortable. This is a car that you need because it ticks almost all the boxes except for the price. So you need the Vezel, but you may want a CX3 because of its looks and good driving dynamics, or you may also want this XV for a bit of off-roading. So in a nutshell, if you are looking for a subcompact crossover for your family, then you need the Honda Vezel, and that's our recommendation. If finances allow, then go for it. On the other hand, if you don't mind about space but want the good driving dynamics and good looks of the CX3, then you will want to get the CX3. If you fancy doing a bit of off-roading, then you will want to get the Subaru XV. I hope this has been helpful. Thanks a lot for watching. Which one would you go for? Do let me know in the comment section. As always, if you have any inquiries, feel free to reach me via WhatsApp or email. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more informative content on cars as well as bikes. That's it for this particular episode. Stay safe. See you in the next one.